Let's talk Women Talk.
Hi, I'm Sher-Li. In the previous episode, I talked about interview and specifically about how you can make it more employer-centric. Today, I'm going to highlight some of the challenging questions that you may face and also the possible way to answer them and to deal with them. In terms of the challenging questions that women tend to face, and they're real, they do exist, they usually are somewhat linked to their roles that they play outside of work. So if they become a mother, then obviously it's the age-old thing called motherhood penalty, whereby the question is, you have one kid now, are you planning to have more kids? The other thing is also sometimes they ask questions about whether would your decision be based on a partner, for example? So you do have questions where they ask you, also your husband actually works overseas or is traveling overseas. So is there a chance that you may also move overseas if he asks you to? So very often these questions get asked, they're directed to females, and you don't normally hear that with males as often. That's one thing. The other thing is, of course, also when it comes to women, especially when they take on slightly more senior roles, you do hear of people being asked in interviews, right, whether they're comfortable with, for example, dealing with a group of predominantly male employees. You can kind of walk into an interview with a chip on your shoulder and think that, oh, the employer's directing this at me on purpose. But if I flip it around and I think of it as, it's not really done because we want to target females. It's done because the employer's mindset is, I'm running an organization. The organization needs to keep going. And the truth is, sometimes certain things may cause a change to the day-to-day operations. So it's really that mindset that's driving the kind of difficult questions that they ask. Now, when you switch your mind to think that way, you automatically be less guarded as well. So in a way, you become a little bit more forthcoming in your answers, right? And a big part of interviews is actually trying to find a connection, a positive connection between you and the interviewer. The other kind of challenging questions, which I mentioned earlier on, it's because of the gender. They say, hey, your team are entirely male with except one female. Are you sure you're comfortable with that? Now, rather than say that it's, again, same thing, it's directed at me because I'm female, and yeah, I possibly try to focus on the positive side of this, that maybe some of the males may have a difficulty trying to work with a female boss. So he's bringing up points that are real and honest, and in a way, you can also come forward and be real and honest and say why you think you can do it and why you think it may not be an obstacle. And back to what I said earlier on, first thing is to really look at the questions and not be like, oh, like your defenses are up and he's just picking on me, and then after that, go forward with it. Whenever you take a career gap, something will change. And that change for a lot of people may or may not be positive, but there's always a positive learning from it. And in the interview, part of your message to the employer is to communicate that kind of positive experience rather than acknowledge that it's a gap. It's a gap, I did it, and now I'm ready to start back the second part of my life. And I've always seen the interviewers change their mindset when an interviewing candidate brings it up this way, because it's almost like I'm hiring someone who knows exactly what she wants, who knows where she stands in her life. I take a chance and there's a higher chance she will stay longer. Longevity is a big thing for employers. The longer you stay, the better. So why not? There's nothing to lose then if I hire her. So that's the message that you should try to drive across. I hope I've been able to help address some of the concerns that you have about interviewing. So for those of you who are coming back into the workforce again after taking a career gap, remember, be brave, be prepared, and don't give up.